Recalling her first meeting with Mark DeLillo in her past life, and then her final, fateful meeting with him, when he ran her over, Olivia's heart filled with anguish. Hatred tightened her entire body, and her hands instinctively clenched into fists, nails digging into the table. "What's wrong?" Jeremy immediately sensed something amiss with Olivia. Olivia spread her hands on the table and regained her composure. "It's nothing." Jeremy glanced at the marks left by Olivia's nails on the table, unconvinced that she was fine, but he chose not to press the issue. Looking at Pamela, who was eager to try her luck, Olivia's gaze turned cold and determined. "I'm going to kill you," Olivia thought. "I'm going to kill you, and I'm going to kill Mark, and I'm never going to let the two of you team up against me ever again." "Now for the other piece of great news," Adam smiled, retrieving an envelope from his pocket, unaware of the simmering rage living inside Olivia. "Take a look at this." "What's that?" The students focused their attention on the envelope in Adam's hand. "This is the prize money awarded to me by the school," Adam revealed. "You guys sold the most photos of any class in the charity photo competition, so the school wanted to give you a little reward. So before you take your final exams next week, I thought maybe you guys could all go enjoy group dinner tonight after school, as a way to bond as a class. Show some school spirit." "Oh, good idea. Should we hit up the Dock Grill? It's this great place by the water," Sam said. "My parents' friends own it, so they could probably seat all of us out on the patio." The other students all clapped in confirmation and excitement. Olivia shook her head. The Dock Grill was an upscale restaurant, but of course the students here would want to go there. People at Marshall High had expensive taste, no matter how old they were. "Adam, you should come too and bring your partner," the students playfully taunted. "Yes, bring your girlfriend." "No, she's busy." Adam smiled and replied, "All right, pack up your things and get out of here. Go enjoy your weekends before final. And study hard after you relax tonight, okay? But take the night off, you deserve it." Amidst the students' chatter, the school bell rang. Everyone grabbed their bags and bid farewell to each other before leaving the classroom. As Millie, Wendy, and Olivia made their way to the Dock Grill to meet their classmates, they laughed and joked with each other the entire way. When they arrived, Sam Feinstein was already there, and after exchanging greetings, Sam put it in order for appetizers to greet the juniors as they trickled in. Soon, their other classmates started to arrive one after another. They had reserved the largest private section, which featured a bunch of round tables out on the patio. The students naturally separated into groups, occupying their respective tables. As the dishes were about to be served, Olivia asked, "Has everyone arrived? Is anyone missing?" The classmates exchanged glances and realized that two people were yet to show up. "Jeremy and Pamela haven't arrived yet," someone mentioned. "Call them and find out where they are." Olivia frowned. Frances dialed Jeremy's number and relayed the information. "Jeremy says he's on his way. He'll be here soon." Another student said, "Pamela mentioned that she's feeling unwell and won't be coming." "Oh," Olivia replied in a cool tone. In her previous life, there was also a class gathering like this around the holidays, and back then Pamela, the class president, had organized it successfully, and everyone, except for Olivia, had a great time. After all the dishes were served, Jeremy finally arrived. As everyone began chatting and laughing, the atmosphere became lively. It was their first official class gathering outside of school, where nearly everyone was in attendance, and although there were various cliques present, the ambiance remained cheerful. Laughter filled the air as they enjoyed their meal. Observing everyone's joy, both Sam Feinstein and Olivia felt a sense of pride in their class. After eating, the group still felt like hanging out and decided to continue the celebration elsewhere. They discussed whether to go sing karaoke, and while some students expressed their unavailability due to prior commitments, the rest agreed to go to a nearby all-ages restaurant and bar that had private karaoke rooms. It was still earlier in the evening making it easy to find a spacious karaoke room. The remaining juniors ordered popcorn, drinks, and other treats, and then followed the waiter to their designated private karaoke room. At that moment, someone suddenly stopped and pointed toward a figure exiting a private room, exclaiming, "Hey, isn't that Pamela?" All eyes turned in her direction, and indeed they saw Pamela strolling along, oblivious to their presence. She engaged in animated conversation with another girl wearing a new Gucci coat, heading towards the restroom. Obviously, she's chatting up someone she thinks is rich, Olivia thought, probably hanging on that girl's every word so she can use her status to try to climb up in the world. Olivia wondered if Pamela had made friends with someone outside of school to try to ride their coattails, since she was clearly unsuccessful riding Olivia's thus far. I thought she wasn't feeling well." Wendy's voice trailed off, astonishment evident. The others remained silent, feeling a certain awkwardness settling over the gathering. "Forget her. Let's focus on our own fun." Olivia waved her hand dismissively. "Go to the left. That's the spacious room we reserved." "Yes." The others nodded in agreement. While they didn't voice their thoughts, they were all wondering why Pamela was there. Yet despite their initially dampened spirits, a wave of energy washed over them as they entered their private karaoke room. Wendy stepped forward and took charge, belting out a popular pop song with a surprisingly impressive vocal range. Her infectious enthusiasm spread like wildfire, prompting others to join in. The room reverberated with laughter, camaraderie, and heartfelt singing as they took turns showcasing their hidden talents. Amidst the lively atmosphere, Olivia found herself immersed in the joyful ambiance. She couldn't help but tap her feet to the rhythm, feeling the beat pulsating through her veins. With a platter of yummy candy by her side and a refreshing soft drink in her hand, she reveled in the moment, her voice blending harmoniously with the others. Nobody cared if they were off tune. The karaoke room became a haven of exuberance, with each performance infused with a unique flair and an undeniable sense of fun. They laughed, they danced, and they sang their hearts out, creating cherished memories that would be etched in their minds for years to come. "Liv," Wendy leaned her arm against Olivia's, "we're planning to go shopping later, after karaoke on Broadway. All the stores are open late because the holidays are approaching, and everyone wants to hang out before we have to start really studying for finals tomorrow." "Count me in," Olivia nodded. She too desired a leisurely outing. If luck was on her side, she might stumble upon a valuable limited edition bag while out shopping that she could buy as an investment. "All right." Wendy made an okay gesture. "Millie, Jeremy, and Frances are coming too." Wendy smirked. "I also called Chris." Wendy blinked mischievously. "Wendy, how do you have Chris's number?" "At school, he was complaining about how elusive you are, so I told him that if he couldn't find you, he could contact me instead, and we swapped numbers." Olivia's mouth twitched at the corner. "You truly are something, aren't you?" "Of course," Wendy chuckled. Olivia stood up. "Where are you going?" Wendy asked. "The restroom," Olivia replied, leaving the room. She turned a corner and unexpectedly bumped into Pamela. Pamela seemed to have come out of another private karaoke room to answer a phone call or something. "Olivia?" Pamela was equally taken aback when she saw Olivia. She instinctively glanced around, worried that someone else might have seen her at the karaoke bar, making the situation rather awkward. "What a coincidence!" Olivia chuckled mockingly. Yeah." Pamela smiled guiltily. "Are you alone?" "In the hallway right now? Yes," Olivia asked, amusement evident in her voice. Pamela felt a pang of guilt, finding herself in the presence of the person she least wanted to encounter. "Well, I can honestly say that I was feeling unwell earlier, so I decided not to go to the class dinner." "You weren't feeling well, so you came to sing karaoke?" Olivia mockingly laughed. "Well, you see, this manager here is my mom's friend. I came to deliver something for her." Pamela smiled, attempting to cover her tracks. "I'm leaving now." With that, she rubbed her temples. It's too noisy here. I still have a headache. Olivia remained silent, refraining from commenting on Pamela's obvious lie. Even if I couldn't read your thoughts, I'd be able to see right through this one, she thought. She simply watched as Pamela looked at her. Even though she knew the truth, Olivia chose not to expose it. However, the ridicule in her eyes became more apparent with each passing moment. Pamela felt her words falter, and a tremor passed through her body as she stared at Olivia's eyes, filled with suspicion and distrust. After a long pause, she uttered, You wouldn't make baseless accusations about me not really being sick, would you?" "Why would I say something baseless?" Olivia responded, throwing the question back at her. Olivia thought about how they were alone like this, with no one else in the dark hallway, and loud music blaring all around them. Nobody would hear if Pamela suddenly screamed or fell to the floor with a loud thud, would they? Now might be my perfect opportunity, Olivia thought. I could kill you now. I could do away with you before you even have the opportunity to hurt me further or meet Mark Dillalow and ruin my life. Olivia's eyes narrowed, and a sinister smile spread across her lips. Unaware of what Olivia was thinking, Pamela bit her lip. "Don't you dare mention that you saw me here, do you hear me?" she threatened. At that moment, two adults who were in another private karaoke room exited their room and brushed past the girls on the way to the bathroom. Damn it, Olivia thought, wishing she'd taken her chance. Maybe if I can get Pamela talking a bit more, I can find another chance in here when I'm sure we're alone. Olivia smiled and replied, "Why shouldn't I tell people I saw you here?" "You." Pamela ground her teeth. "What do you want?" "Well, if you wanted to give me some money, maybe I could keep quiet. When my pockets are full, I tend to forget everything. It's the weirdest thing." Olivia leaned casually against the nearby wall, deliberately exposing the pockets of her pants for Pamela to see. You're blackmailing me?" Pamela hesitated for a moment. This Olivia had no shame. She didn't need money, so why was she doing this? Just to make Pamela uncomfortable? Yes, Olivia thought. I love to watch you squirm. My time is valuable, so you better make it quick. Olivia's smile widened. Pamela gritted her teeth and then pulled out $500 from her wallet and stuffed it into Olivia's pocket. Now don't say anything. I don't want our whole class to think I flaked and lied to them. I really am sick, she insisted, then turned to leave. Olivia pretended to ponder and teased. I bumped into someone at the karaoke place today. Who was it? Why can't I remember? Don't push it. Pamela saw Olivia's expression and couldn't help but grow angry. What exactly do you want? I don't consider my pockets full yet. Olivia teased Pamela with a mischievous look. In her previous life, she had gifted Pamela numerous limited edition bags, makeup, and clothing. Perhaps it was time to collect some interest. Yeah, Olivia thought, you owe me way more. Biting her lower lip again, Pamela trembled with anger. She pulled out another $500 from her wallet and shoved it into Olivia's pocket. That's it. If you dare to use this against me again, I'm going to make you miserable. All right, this time I won't remember I saw you here. Olivia laughed. I promise. It was too much fun making Pamela angry. Pamela coldly snorted and turned to leave. Olivia watched as Pamela's shoulders trembled with anger before turning and walking toward the bathroom, a broad smile adorning her face. Pamela clenched her fist tightly. Could Olivia be any more despicable? She had truly revealed her true nature. At school, she presented herself as a good girl who was morally righteous, and at banquets and social events, she acted like a proper young lady. But now, with no one around, she had finally revealed her true self. She's the absolute worst, Pamela thought. She's the devil reincarnate. Olivia grimaced when she heard Pamela think this, and she concentrated on Pamela's back. Now you're going to wish you hadn't said that, Olivia thought, and she pulled her hands up, preparing to sweep Pamela off the ground with her mind and send her crashing down the stairs that were just around the corner. She would make it look like an accident, like poor Pamela hadn't been feeling well after all and had a dizzy spell that resulted in her tumbling down the stairs. "Wow," someone said over Olivia's shoulders just as she raised her arms up. "You trying to put a hex on her or something?" "What?" Olivia said, spinning around to see who was behind her. "Huh?" A person who had been lurking in the shadows suddenly emerged, the corners of his mouth curled up. He had originally intended to head to the bathroom, but unexpectedly witnessed such an interesting scene, so he stopped to watch it unfold. "Jeremy?" Olivia asked. "What are you—" He casually strolled towards the bathroom. "Had to use the little boy's room." "What were you doing?" "Looked like you were trying to do a little magic spell on her or something, the way you were waving your hands around. You know, some sort of wizardy, Harry Potter," he teased. Olivia tried to laugh it off so she didn't arouse suspicion. "Funny. No, I was just about to flip her off." She looked down. "It's probably good you stopped me. I don't like losing my cool like that." She could see that Jeremy had seen the entire exchange where she blackmailed Pamela, so she inhaled deeply. "Pamela owes me," she tried to explain. "I've kept a lot of her secrets, and I know a lot about her." When Jeremy said nothing, she said, "It's complicated." Jeremy looked at her, his mind blank so she couldn't read it. "Hey, no judgment," he said finally. He passed her and slipped into the bathroom. That was close, Olivia thought. Way, way, way too close. Olivia's heart was racing so much in her temples that she couldn't read Jeremy's thoughts through the wall even if she tried at this point. She had almost been caught using her powers. But, she reassured herself, he didn't see me. I'm okay. Even if he thought I was being bitchy or rude or even really, really weird, he didn't see me do anything I can't take back. So we're okay. She tried to calm herself down and returned to the karaoke room before she had to have another awkward moment with Jeremy. She felt too seen by him, like maybe he was suspicious of her. So she re-entered the room where all her friends were. Everyone continued singing in the karaoke until nearly 8 o'clock. When they settled the bill and realized they had spent way more than expected, Olivia used Pamela's money to pay the remaining balance. Olivia smiled. "Merry Christmas, everyone! Enjoy your Christmas." Her classmates nodded and thanked her. Across the street, as the students left the karaoke restaurant and bar, Pamela watched from inside a cafe. She didn't want anyone else to see her on the street making her way home, so she stayed here until she knew they were all gone. "That bitch," Pamela simmered while watching Olivia and clenching her fist tightly. Olivia had stooped to such despicable lows. "It's all right," she tried to soothe herself. "As long as I do well on my final exams and rank amongst the top of my class so I can compete in my school's elite student competition, everything else will fall into place." As Olivia and her friends continued shopping, unaware of Jeremy's suspicions, Francis grabbed everyone's attention. "Hey guys," he said excitedly. "I just got a text from my dad saying our family's company is having a big 100th anniversary celebration on New Year's Eve, because next year will be its 100th year in business. He said I can invite as many friends as I want. So if you guys don't have any plans for New Year's Eve, are you interested in coming?" "I don't have any plans yet," Olivia nodded. "So I'll come as long as your mom isn't quite so enthusiastic about me as she was the last time I met her," Olivia joked. She was a little afraid of Francis's mother ever since she came on so strongly at the Thanksgiving event at school. "Don't worry, I'll talk to her." Francis smiled awkwardly. "I'll come with Liv," Chris smiled. It seemed he needed to look after his fiancée. "I'll try to make it." Millie was still a little hesitant. "I'll be there." Wendy looked very interested. She had never participated in a big company party before, and she didn't have any plans yet. "Jeremy, how about you?" Francis asked. Jeremy shook his head. "I have family stuff that night." He did not want to go anywhere that might expose his real identity. Nobody here knew who he really was yet. "All right." Knowing how shy Jeremy was, Frances didn't press the matter anymore. After leaving Chanel and then strolling through Balenciaga, the group walked back out onto the street, shopping bags in hand. "Where else?" Millie asked. "Let's go and take a look over there." Olivia pointed at an upscale department store. When the group entered, they found that most of the other people shopping inside were couples. They held hands or put their arms around each other's shoulders. They smiled sweetly, chatted, and occasionally kissed their foreheads or cheeks. Olivia busied herself looking at makeup and did not pay attention to the surroundings. Chris and Jeremy, on the other hand, felt a little awkward. When they passed by a brooch placed in a square rotating glass window, Olivia stopped in her tracks. "Could you please show me this brooch?" "Okay." The clerk used a small key to open the glass lock and then put on a white glove to take out the brooch and place it flat on a sapphire blue velvet cushion on the counter. Olivia picked up the brooch. It was about the size of a pentagon coin. It was an exquisite crown with a platinum edge. There were 3 colored round crystals of different sizes in the hollow inside. In the middle was a diamond with 2 carats. It reflected a beautiful light under the light and looked very beautiful. "How much is this?" "Well, this brooch is a new seasonal work by the designer of Paris, Palsy Moscow." Under the bright light of the display cabinet, the jeweler reflected a beautiful light, making Olivia's tongue twitch. The clerk showed her the brooch's 6-digit price tag. Olivia admired the piece quietly. Her monthly allowance was not enough to buy such expensive jewelry. The tiny brooch was priced at nearly $120,000. Chris noticed her gaze and asked, "You like it?" "Oh." Olivia smiled and said, "I mean, who wouldn't?" She turned her head and looked around. "But it's silly how much it is. Shall we go to the next door?" "Okay." As Olivia made her way away from the display case, Chris and Jeremy turned around at the same time and looked at the delicate brooch again. Each of them had their own ideas, but Millie and Wendy began talking to Olivia, and she was too preoccupied to notice. Instead, she was swept up in the current of people in the department store, and soon, she and her friends were back out on the street. "Oh my God, look!" Millie said, pointing to a nearby gallery on the corner. "Isn't that... Wait, doesn't that look familiar?" Olivia walked forward, and the closer she got to the gallery, the more familiar the photographs hanging in the window seemed. One in particular looked very familiar. Standing behind the crowd, Olivia was speechless. "Is this Danny Wilson's photography exhibition?" "Oh my gosh, yeah!" Wendy nodded. "His sister Callie said he was going to have an exhibition opening at a gallery in town around the holidays, or in December or something. This must be it. I completely forgot." Jeremy looked at the enlarged photo of Olivia, which had won their school's charity photo competition, and he smiled. He couldn't help it. He was attracted to Olivia in spite of himself. "Liv!" Wendy turned around and saw Olivia. Seeing Wendy's excited look, Olivia immediately stretched out her finger to make a silent gesture. Shh, don't make a big deal. I don't want to draw attention." Before Olivia could finish her sentence, Wendy pointed at the photo and said, "Liv, look, it's you!" Hearing Wendy's words, the surrounding crowd also turned to look at Olivia and started to say, "Whoa, look, it's the girl from the photo." Olivia didn't like being stared at and talked about like this, so she turned around to leave. "Come on, let's get out of here," she muttered to her friends. "Liv, what is the matter?" Wendy followed and asked. "Nothing," Olivia sighed. "I'm a little tired. Why don't we go home?" "Yes, let's," Chris said, swooping in to help Olivia when he could see she was irritated. "I've had enough shopping today. I'm not a fan of crowds. Too much people." He smiled. The others nodded, though Frances kept stealing glances back at Olivia's photo hanging in the gallery. It was large and gorgeous. "Frances, what are you thinking?" Millie asked when she noticed this. "Nothing." Frances shook his head, but he was thinking in his heart, "It's such a big picture, and if I could hang it on the wall at home, I could admire it whenever I wanted." Everyone dispersed, and Olivia was too busy calling Morris Pratt to pick her up, so she didn't hear Frances's thoughts. As soon as her driver pulled around, she settled into the car and took a nap on the way home, tired from her evening of shopping and eating and karaoke, and of almost getting caught trying to harm Pamela. That was a close one, she thought. I gotta be more careful next time. Between that and what happened at the gala, I really need to slow down and plan my moves out more cautiously. As soon as she entered her house, Olivia heard a hearty laugh, and her attention was pulled in the direction of the sofa near the grand foyer. She saw Monica sitting obediently and peeling an orange for Michael. "Here you go, Dad." "Thank you," Michael responded. Rachel put her hands on her knees and smiled gently, lovingly at her daughter and husband. This is what I've always wanted, Rachel thought. The three of us, and not Olivia, enjoying ourselves like a family, getting along harmoniously. Mommy, I'll peel you an orange, too. Monica smiled and quickly peeled an orange and handed it to Rachel with both hands. Rachel had told her to do this before they came downstairs, to show her father how quiet and obedient and easy to get along with she could be. Such a good girl. Rachel smiled and took the orange, unaware that Olivia had entered the house. Michael, our Monica has grown up so much and is maturing into such a lovely young girl, isn't she? Yes, Michael smiled. She has final exams next week. This is an important time in her studies for college applications. Do you want to invite a tutor to the house this week for her? Rachel asked. Isn't she good at studying? Michael asked. Actually, I think a tutor might help. Monica looked at Michael. What kind of tutor do you want? Michael thought about it. He might as well hire a tutor for both of his daughters, since he knew Olivia needed one too. Well, he or she must be Ivy League educated, right? My family background demands it. I don't want regular people to teach me, and it's important the tutor isn't too old. He must have a good personality and can't be old-fashioned. He has patience and... Before Monica could finish her words, Olivia entered the room laughing and interrupted Monica. Monica heard Olivia's laughter, and a trace of disgust flashed across her eyes, but her mouth still politely said, Olivia, you are back? Yep, Olivia replied and walked towards the sofa. Liv, where did you go today and come back so late? Michael looked at the clock. It was almost 10 o'clock. We had a class bonding dinner, Olivia replied. I was eating and singing with my classmates. Then I went Christmas shopping with my friends, since the stores all stay open later in December. Monica looked sour, and when she saw the shopping bag in Olivia's hand, she became even more furious. She still hated that Michael gave Olivia an allowance. It was like he was giving away Monica's inheritance to some poor pauper he brought in off the street. What good stuff did you buy? Just some gifts, Olivia said mysteriously. Tell me. Monica had a wronged look on her face, like she needed to know. She wanted so badly to know how much of her family's money Olivia was spending. I'm curious. Monica was about to make a comment about how Olivia spent money that wasn't even hers too frivolously, when she heard Rachel clearing her throat to remind her to behave. Monica hurriedly suppressed her anger and said, Liv, I suppose I'm really just concerned about you. You have time to go out and sing and go shopping, but finals are next week, and you didn't do so well on your midterms. So don't you think you should spend more time on your studies right now? After all, Dad said he's willing to find a tutor for both you and I. You should cherish the fact that you have a dad who cares so much about your well-being, and show him you care by focusing on studying. Monica hoped Michael would hear this and be utterly disappointed in Olivia, to such an extent that he took away all of Olivia's allowance. Good thinking, Olivia said. I'm going to go to my room and start studying. She had no intention of studying tonight, but she knew Monica would look bad if she didn't put up a fight, and instead just pretended to agree. Good night, Father. Thank you so much for helping us find a tutor. Love you. She turned and walked upstairs. Monica was unwilling to not get the result she expected. Dad, look at Olivia's attitude. She's so flippant, and she's obviously just taunting me. I'm just concerned about her. What are you talking about? Monica, she seemed perfectly fine just now. Michael said, You just need to worry about yourself. What? Monica was frustrated. Monica just cares about her sister, Rachel chimed in. She felt that Monica spoke a little too much today, though, and hurriedly tried to smooth things over. Very well, Michael responded, slightly exasperated with his youngest daughter, and stood up. I have work to do. I'll be in my office. Daddy, when will I get my tutor? Monica asked in a hurry. I will find one for you soon, and for your sister. After Michael answered, he walked upstairs to the study. Rachel's eyes darkened once her husband was gone. Monica, go up to your room and get to bed early. Okay, is everything all right? Yes, just go. Monica did as she was told, unsure what was going on with her mom. Once alone, Rachel's expression became more serious. The more Michael paid attention to Olivia, the more she felt uneasy. But she couldn't do anything right now. She could only wait for the spring to come and wait for her son Chase to return home with Michael's brother Bruno. Only then could she take the next step. I have to take precautions against Olivia, that little Scrooge, Rachel thought. I have to get rid of her. After partying with Olivia and the others in Manhattan's shopping district, Jeremy went to the alley he had agreed upon with his driver and sat on the curb until his family's Bentley arrived to pick him up. How was your excursion with your classmates today, Jeremy? His driver asked. Very good. Jeremy looked outside the window and was in a good mood. The driver hesitated and wanted to say something, but in the end he chose to shut his mouth. The car drove quietly through the streets of downtown. The flashing neon lights, the couple snuggling against each other in the cold, all of it passed by Jeremy's steely gaze. His thoughts were still on Olivia. He still couldn't figure out what was going on with her. Once home, Jeremy absent-mindedly opened the car door and walked to his home's front entrance. He was still distracted when he entered his family's mansion. But as soon as he did, wham! Something hit him in the face. Jeremy frowned and immediately took a step back. Seeing Jeremy retreat, the person who had hit him did not seem to relax at all. After blocking sideways, Jeremy threw a punch at the door, but his mysterious opponent struck him with their palm. Both of them held each other's wrists at the same time. At this moment, the lights of the villa lit up. Jeremy could see the person clearly through the lights, and he stood stunned for a moment. Devin? Merry Christmas! The person standing opposite Jeremy waved her hand. Did you miss me? No. Jeremy walked past the woman and entered the room without looking back. That's not very nice, the woman frowned. You weren't like this when you were young. You liked me. Ma'am, you're here, Jeremy's driver said to Devin after entering the house. Albert, long time no see, she replied. How have you been recently? Thanks to you, I am well and everything is fine. Devin nodded and smiled. It's all thanks to you, actually, for taking care of Jeremy. Albert shrugged. It's what I was tasked to do, and I take pride in my job. Devin smiled approvingly. She looked like she was in her early 20s. She was dressed in casual clothes. She had short, dark hair that curled about her ears. The contours of her muscles could be seen from her tight body. She looked tan and healthy, and she was wearing a pair of short boots. Devin turned around and walked around the house looking around. You guys are the only ones here? Or the maids and stuff? Due to safety considerations, we didn't invite any permanent maids, but we have people to come and clean on time every day, Albert replied. Oh, that's not bad, I guess. Devin nodded and saw Jeremy pouring water. She walked over and said, Little bro, how are you doing in Manhattan? Did you miss home? Go back home. Jeremy drank a mouthful of water, his expression cold. Jeremy, is this the attitude you should have towards your own sister? Devin was a little unhappy. She put her hands on her hips and scolded him. I don't have time to play with you. Jeremy glanced at her and said, "Albert, book a plane ticket for her to return home tomorrow. I have to start studying." After saying that, Jeremy walked to his room. The time he wasted today could only be used to work overtime at night. "Jeremy, don't be like that," Devin scowled. "I'm not leaving." "Miss," Albert blushed with shame, "let me show you to your room, where you'll be staying." "Actually, why don't you show me the photo you mentioned on the phone first?" She was very curious to see it. What kind of girl would that closed-off little brother be interested in? "Yes, ma'am," Albert replied. He had called to inform Jeremy's family in San Francisco about a photo of a classmate Jeremy had bought, and which he had seemed preoccupied with. Not only that, but Jeremy seemed to watch the girl often after school, a girl named Olivia. He only hoped that Jeremy would forgive him if he ever found out that Albert had shared this information with Devin and the others in his family. Sunday was bright and sunny. Although the cold wind was still blowing, the sunshine was still very pleasant. So although Olivia's original plan was to stay inside and study the whole day, she decided instead to take her dog out. Besides, Polly was acting cute and wanted to play. When she was playing with Polly in a nearby park, she did not notice a black German car parked across the street. Nor did she notice that she and Polly were being captured on camera. An arm extended from the window of the back seat of the car and snapped photos of Olivia. Then, putting away the camera, the photographer said to his passenger, "I think we found Betty." "Are you sure? That husky is Betty." The passenger wasn't convinced. After all, Betty had been lost for a few months. In that amount of time, the appearance of a puppy could change so much. "I think so." The photographer fiddled with the camera and looked at the photo. "We'll look at her markings of the dog in the photos more closely back home to confirm it." "Okay." The person in the passenger seat nodded. "I'll arrange for someone to check the background of the girl who took Betty away." The photographer turned off the camera and nodded. After such a long time, they finally found Betty. It felt good. "If it's indeed Betty, do you think our boss will come to claim her personally?" The man sitting in the front passenger seat was somewhat uncertain about his young boss's unpredictable personality. "He should," the photographer said. "Betty was our boss's favorite. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put a reward of $5,000 for her the moment she left. He even asked the two of us to stay in Manhattan to continue searching for her after she ran off." "Good point." The person sitting in the passenger seat sighed and said, "Come on. Now that we know where she lives, we can keep an eye on her." The driver responded, "Let's go home and compare the markings on this dog with the ones in Betty's puppy pictures more closely." The driver pulled away from the curb, and the car headed in the opposite direction of Olivia walking her dog. Unaware, because the people in the car were too far for her to eavesdrop on, Olivia played with Polly for more than an hour before she brought her home. When they got inside, Olivia threw a tennis ball for Polly to fetch, while laying down lazily to catch her breath. Polly cooperated, wagging her tail happily. Rachel and Monica, who were coming down the stairs, happened to see this. "Mommy, why is she playing with the dog in the living room? She's going to make a mess." Monica rolled her eyes. "When will our dog Candy come back?" "You know Candy has been sent to Europe for training for her next dog show." Rachel furrowed her brows. Rachel shot a jealous look at Olivia, who was playing with her dog. "Don't worry," she assured her daughter. "In the long run, we will be happy and Olivia will suffer. And everything that irks you now will just be a distant memory." "Olivia, good. You're home," Michael said upon seeing Olivia on the living room couch. "I want you to come meet your tutor." "What?" Olivia was taken aback. Michael had arranged for a tutor so quickly. "Are they here now?" She wondered what kind of person it was. "Yes," Michael nodded. "You didn't give me any guidelines, so it was easier to find yours than Monica's," he said. "Come, I'll introduce you." Monica scowled as she watched her father lead Olivia away. "Don't make that face," Rachel quickly admonished her daughter. "It's true, you told your dad you wanted someone more specific. He'll find you a tutor soon, don't worry, And don't whine either. Nobody likes that, especially your father. Olivia, meanwhile, followed her dad into his study and found a young man in a suit sipping tea. A foreboding sensation washed over her, prompting her to approach them cautiously. Michael gestured and said, "Liv, let me introduce you." "All right," Olivia replied, making her way toward the young man. Michael smiled and proceeded with the introduction. "This is Jeff Dreyer, the son of our friend Shandy. He's currently pursuing a master's degree in psychology abroad. He's here on a month-and-a-half break, and I invited him to be your temporary tutor." Olivia carefully scrutinized Jeff's features. "Hello." He extended his hand. "Hello." Olivia recalled Shandy Dreyer's glowing praise of her son at Rachel's birthday banquet. "I'm conducting a psychological research project focused on teenagers. In a way, we can help each other." Jeff, a well-groomed man in his mid to late 20s, with neat short hair and donning a white shirt under a dark blue suit, explained. A golden Parker pen resided in his shirt pocket. "Liv, you should learn from him. He was the top student when he studied at Marshall High," Michael interjected. Those achievements are in the past," Jeff modestly replied, maintaining a reserved demeanor. "Why don't you two head upstairs so you can go over her exam schedule with you? You can help her study." Michael gestured with a smile. "Yes?" "Okay," Olivia acquiesced, turning to a nearby maid. "Please show Jeff to my room and have him wait for a while." "Yes, miss," the maid replied respectfully, addressing Jeff. "Sir, please follow me." "Thank you." Jeff smiled at Olivia and Michael before following the maid upstairs. "Dad, why did you choose him?" Olivia inquired, her confusion evident. "Earlier this afternoon, I was in a meeting about a potential merger, and Shandy Dreyer was present too. She holds you in high regard, and during our conversation, the topic of finding you a tutor came up. Shandy suggested her son, and without hesitation, she arranged for him to come by." Michael's voice trailed off, finding it difficult to refuse such a kind offer. "I see," Olivia expressed her understanding. "I figure you'd appreciate him tutoring you through finals, and he can help you go over anything for the next month and a half once the next semester starts. Once that's over, I'll find you a reliable tutor for you. Is that okay?" "Sure," Olivia smiled. "I was just a little surprised. I'd expected a female tutor." "Well, the next tutor will be a woman," Michael assured her. He had shared the same sentiment. However, due to the business ties between the Johnson and Dreyer families, it was difficult for him to refuse when they offered. "All right, Dad," Olivia nodded, accepting the circumstances. She understood that certain situations were beyond her control, and she had to play along. While making her way from the living room to her room, Olivia's thoughts revolved around her limited knowledge of Jeff Dreyer. She only recalled Shandy's anecdotes, describing him as a filial and talented individual who disliked business. He preferred academia much more. In her previous life, Olivia had minimal interaction with him, but now he mysteriously emerged as her tutor. She found herself ill-prepared for this arrangement. Once inside her room, as the lesson commenced, Olivia's perception began to shift. Jeff's competence became apparent as he approached the material with clarity she hadn't yet experienced, particularly in English and chemistry. His presence proved immensely beneficial for Olivia. "Let's conclude for today." Jeff Dreyer glanced at the time after 2 hours had gone by. "Shall we continue at the same time tomorrow?" "Sure," Olivia agreed, amenable to the suggestion since she found his assistance helpful. "But if possible," he added, "would it be okay to ask for your assistance with something also? I'll tutor you free of charge in any subject you wish, and I'll make myself available during finals week so you can ask me questions at any time. But I request half a day on Sunday for the next 6 weeks," Jeff Dreyer explained, a smile playing on his lips. "During that time, I'll need your help with my research project. Remember, we're mutually assisting each other." "Is this psychological research going to involve dissecting someone or something?" Olivia asked cautiously. No, it's relatively painless, I promise. Jeff laughed. Does that deal work for you, though? Olivia considered. I do need someone to help me study this week, and having him available round the clock is nice, so giving it a bit of time every Sunday for the next few weeks seems like a fair trade-off, especially considering he's not charging my father anything to tutor me. All right, she said. You got a deal. As Olivia escorted Jeff to the door, Monica watched. She was aware of Jeff Dreyer's reputation as an heir to the Dreyer family fortune. People always spoke highly of him. I better get someone just as good, she thought. She knew Jeff wasn't technically an Ivy League educated person, which she had insisted she wanted in a tutor, but still, he went to Oxford. Her dad should have known that that would be just as good. She huffed, frustrated that she only had herself to blame for giving her dad such specific instructions about what kind of tutor she wanted. It's not fair, she grunted. Now Olivia's tutor is going to be better than mine. It didn't seem fair. Anger started to well up inside Monica. She couldn't accept it. She too wanted a tutor, and not just any tutor, but someone equally influential. She couldn't let herself be overshadowed by Olivia. Olivia noticed Monica's gaze and shook her head playfully. Typical Monica, she thought. Her half-sister would certainly stir up trouble again over this. And I'll be here waiting, ready to make you look bad again. Olivia smirked. And to slowly take you down. By the time Monday rolled around, Olivia had been studying so hard with her new tutor, Jeff, she felt ready to conquer her final exams. She felt grateful towards Jeff and her dad. Once finals were over, she was re-energized and excitedly welcomed winter break with open arms. On the final day of school for the year, Francis distributed the invitation cards for his family's company anniversary celebration to Olivia and the others. After receiving their invites, everyone gathered at Olivia's locker. The celebration starts at 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve, Wendy said. Should we all meet up beforehand and go together? Yeah, how about I pick you up at my mom's? Olivia said. Okay, Wendy nodded. Pick me up too, Millie said. Ooh, I can't wait to go shopping for this at my aunt's vintage store. I'm going to wear something epic. Wendy turned to Jeremy and asked, Jeremy, are you going? Nah, he shook his head. Not interested. That's a pity. It'd be nice to see you there. Wendy patted Jeremy's shoulder. Liv, can you give Chris's invitation to him for me? Francis asked Olivia. Pamela, who had been focusing on eavesdropping on their conversation, followed Francis as soon as he left Olivia's locker. She stopped at the water fountain beside his locker and pretended to take a sip of water as he grabbed his books. Hey, Francis, she said simply. Sup? Francis glanced at Pamela. This was the first time Pamela took the initiative to talk to him after the Cooper family gathering. I wanted to say thanks for coming to my rescue at the Cooper family party the other day. Pamela slightly lowered her head and revealed a touch of shyness. Of course, Francis waved his hand. Anyone would have done the same. I'm glad you're okay. Pamela looked up and her eyes were stubborn. Maybe, but when I was most afraid and helpless, it was you who saved me. I will never forget this kindness for the rest of my life. Hearing Pamela say this, Francis did not know how to respond. I want to treat you to a meal tomorrow. Do you have any time? Pamela asked. No, sorry. Francis shook his head. I have to help my mom plan the family's company party. She wants me to look at catering stuff with her or something. He rolled his eyes. Oh, I've heard you talking about it, Pamela said. It sounds like it's going to be super fun. Her eyes lit up and showed that she was very interested in attending. Francis didn't know how to react. He was weary of Pamela, so he didn't know if he should extend an invite to her. Even though part of him felt bad, she had overheard everyone talking about the party and probably felt left out. I wonder if I can come? Pamela said finally, when Francis said nothing. Francis thought for a while and nodded, sure. Where will it be exactly? Pamela asked. It will be on the 3rd floor of the Pinnacle Hotel, Frances replied. Pamela smiled. Being able to tell people she was invited to an event as esteemed as this would surely give her clout. Watching Pamela's thoughts, Olivia's lips slightly raised. It seemed that Pamela had not given up yet. You're more resilient than I gave you credit for, Olivia thought, like a cockroach. She watched Pamela suck up to Frances. He was Pamela's most loyal guardian in her previous life, and was Pamela's biggest financial backer. But in this life, Olivia would make sure that never happened again. She thought about the upcoming National Elite Student Competition that would happen next semester. At that time, Olivia, Pamela, and Mark DeLillo would be reunited once again for the first time in their lifetime. And this time, I'll be ready, she thought. Olivia spent much of her winter vacation hanging with friends and enjoying herself before she had to face her ultimate nemesis, Mark, again. It felt good to focus on things other than revenge occasionally, and so she put all her focus into planning her outfit for the New Year's Eve party that was going to be thrown by Frances's family's company. As the big event drew near, Olivia excitedly pulled on a lace sleeveless knee-length dress. She paired it with a leaf-shaped crystal necklace, black pantyhose, and a pair of deerskin boots. Finally, she took a handbag and a fur coat on her arm before heading out of her bedroom. At the corner of the corridor, Olivia bumped into Monica, who was also heading downstairs. She looked up and down at Olivia and asked, "Where are you going?" Not bothering to answer Monica, Olivia walked past her. Seeing Olivia ignore her like this, Monica bit her lower lip. This little bastard was too arrogant. Monica clenched her fist and lifted her hand. If I push her hard enough, Olivia will fall down the whole staircase, she thought. If Monica's luck was good, Liv could break her neck and die. Monica hesitated and frowned, though. If I don't push hard enough and she doesn't die, she'll be able to tell everyone I pushed her. And what if Daddy punished me or sent me away? Just as she was hesitating, Rachel's voice suddenly sounded from behind Monica. "Sweetie!" Rachel saw Monica's actions and knew what she was going to do. This silly child must not be so impulsive. Monica suddenly retracted her hand and turned her head to see Rachel's nervous face. "Yes, Mommy?" Olivia heard Monica behind her and reacted by taking a step sideways to stand close to the wall. At that same moment, Monica turned further to face her mother, but accidentally took a reflexive step back as she did, and in doing so, accidentally stepped off the top stair. "Whoa!" Monica whimpered. Olivia's eyes went wide. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Without even having to do anything, Monica accidentally started tumbling backward down the stairs. "Monica!" Rachel was stunned and immediately ran down the stairs. "Monica! Mommy!" Monica cried when she landed at the first landing in a heap. "Where does it hurt? Tell Mommy where it hurts." Rachel turned around and shouted at a nearby maid, who watched in shock. "Hurry and call an ambulance! What are you standing there for?" Only then did the maid recover from her daze and immediately ran to call the hospital. "Mommy, my hand hurts," Monica whimpered. "I heard something pop." "Don't worry, the doctor will be here soon." Rachel could not do anything other than comfort Monica. She did not dare to move Monica, as she was afraid that she would hurt her mom. She only had one precious daughter. Seeing Monica's pain, Rachel's heart also hurt. She raised her head and hatefully stared at Olivia, who was still standing in the middle of the stairs. "You had something to do with this." "I did not," Olivia defended. She wasn't about to be roped into this. She had been so careful not to hurt Monica in any way that could be directly tied back to her. And now Rachel was sitting there accusing her of doing something she hadn't even done. "Yes, you did." "No, I didn't, and you know it." Olivia shook her head angrily. She wouldn't stand for this. She wasn't going to sit around and be accused of things she didn't do. She marched down the steps and stepped over her crying half-sister before heading for the door. "Where are you going?" Rachel yelled. "You as well as I know that she was so clumsy she fell down the stairs, and my father isn't going to believe you lied, and neither will the maids. You know what happened the last time you had a servant lie for you." She watched as Rachel's mind flashed back to Hector, who had been unceremoniously fired for lying for Rachel. Rachel stifled her anger. "Now, if you'll excuse me," Olivia smiled, "I have a New Year's Eve party to attend. Pity Monica has to spend such a fun night in a hospital. Poor little clumsy girl." She slammed the door behind herself. Olivia happily got into her car with Morris Pratt and sped towards Manhattan, picking up Wendy first on their way to Francis's family's New Year's Eve party. After Wendy hopped in the back seat with her, they drove to Millie's. Millie's dress was similar to Olivia's, except it was vintage and one of a kind because it was from Millie's aunt's store. It was an elegant and feminine garment that exuded a touch of sophistication. The dress featured delicate lace fabric with intricate patterns, adding a hint of texture and visual appeal. The design showcased a fitted bodice that accentuated Millie's figure, and the dress flowed gracefully down to a modest knee length. "Oh man, I should start borrowing dresses from you," Wendy said, looking at Millie. "Mine's so plain." "No, you look gorgeous," Millie told her. But when the car stopped at the entrance of the Pinnacle Hotel, and Wendy saw the crowd entering the lobby, she said, "No, I feel way too underdressed. Look how nice everyone is. They're practically in ball gowns." "Who cares?" Olivia said. "What you wear doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is how confident you are wearing it. Come on." Olivia and Millie walked to the hotel stairs, and only then did they realize that Wendy did not follow them. "I'm too embarrassed." Wendy's face crumbled. "My dress looks too cheap compared to everyone else's." Olivia and Millie looked at each other and helplessly shrugged. She wasn't going to listen to them. "Forget it. Maybe you're right." Wendy shrugged her shoulders finally. "What do I care if anybody judges my dress?" "That's the spirit," Millie cheered. "Besides, I'm only here to see what the 100-year-old celebration for a huge company looks like," Wendy added. "I heard there were going to be live tigers and flamingos. Let's go. Let's go." "Why don't you wear my coat?" Olivia asked, "if you're unhappy with your dress." "No need, that doesn't match my jewelry anyway. I might as well just own my look," Wendy said as she linked arms with her friends. "Let's go, we don't want to be late." Olivia nodded, and the three of them walked into the Pinnacle Hotel, entering a world of opulence and grandeur. They took the elevator to the third floor, eagerly anticipating the lavish party that awaited them. Stepping out of the elevator, their eyes were immediately drawn to a massive banner hanging in the grand foyer, proudly announcing the name of the company hosting the event. The surrounding decorations were a testament to luxury and extravagance, with cascades of shimmering fabrics, intricate floral arrangements, and sparkling chandeliers that bathed the space in a warm golden glow. The air was filled with an enchanting melody played by a live orchestra, adding to the ambiance of grand celebration. Impeccably dressed waitstaff circulated the room, offering guests flutes of champagne and delectable hors d'oeuvres meticulously crafted by renowned chefs. The venue itself boasted spacious ballrooms adorned with intricate details, from ornate ceiling moldings to exquisite hand-carved furniture. In one corner, a dazzling ice sculpture glistened, while in another, a luxurious photo booth enticed guests to capture memories of the extraordinary affair. As Olivia, Millie, and their companions made their way further into the party, they were immersed in a sea of elegantly attired guests, mingling and reveling in the extraordinary setting. It was a night of unparalleled indulgence, a true display of wealth and prestige that left everyone in awe of the extravagant hotel party. "Wow, so cool," Wendy exclaimed when she saw there were zebras in a cage. "I like zebras more than tigers anyway," she laughed. Millie looked at the people inside, and after confirming that she did not know anyone, she let out a sigh of relief. When they got to a room lined with dining tables, the three of them took out the invitation cards and were led to the corresponding seats by the waiter. Francis treated them quite well, it seemed. The seats were at a table closer to the front of the room, and Olivia was very satisfied with her seat. Just as she sat down, however, she heard an annoying voice coming behind her. Olivia, what a coincidence! You were also invited here? Pamela wore light makeup and a pink dress. Her long hair, which was usually draped over her shoulders, was up in a bun. Yeah, Olivia glanced at her. Are you guys sitting here too? Pamela looked at her seat beside them. It wasn't the best table she could have been put at, but it was much better than her not having an invitation at all. Because Frances invited her last minute, Pamela wasn't actually assigned a seat, but she hoped if she just sat beside her classmates, nobody would notice, and if they did, she'd say it was just a mix-up and ask that one of the caterers bring her an extra chair or something. Pamela sat down on the empty seat beside Olivia. I guess I'm seated next to you guys. Olivia glanced at her. Did Pamela have no memory that they didn't like each other? Or was she deliberately playing dumb? She could tell Pamela didn't really have a seat assignment by reading her thoughts. Seeing Olivia's eyes, Pamela held her breath. But on the surface, she still had a decent smile. She did not want to go to the table at the back that Frances had brought her to. It was so far away. Who would notice her back there? She had spent a lot of money to buy new clothes for today. It was a hairstyle. Millie rolled her eyes. Clearly, she was very unhappy that Pamela was sitting beside her. Pamela naturally felt Millie's hostility, and this kind of disdain made her feel uncomfortable. She smiled and asked, Everything okay, Millie? A bookworm actually dared to look down on her. Millie ignored Pamela. She did not even want to say a word to her. Pamela bit her lower lip. What kind of attitude was this? Excuse me, can you get up? A male voice said behind Pamela's seat. Pamela turned and saw that it was Chris Jones. Stunned, she stood up in a daze and fiddled with her hair. Chris, what a coincidence. You took my place? Chris interjected, pointing to his seat. I'm sorry, I didn't know there was someone in this seat. Pamela immediately moved aside and sat beside Wendy. Millie sneered coldly. I really don't know if you are stupid or blind. The seats are assigned. Pamela's expression changed and she glared at Millie with resentment and did not say anything else. Chris sat down and looked at Olivia. He stretched out his hand to pick up the messy hair on the side of his head. Come home with me later, Olivia whispered to him. If Chris was with her when she arrived home, Rachel might be less inclined to blame Olivia for Monica's fault, which Liv honestly had nothing to do with. She wasn't about to start getting blamed for Monica's accidents now, especially since one day she knew she really would be responsible for one. She couldn't look like she had a history of attacking or trying to hurt Monica if she ever wanted to get away with it in the future. Seeing Olivia's expression, Chris knew that she must have encountered some trouble again. Okay, he nodded. Pamela's face was dark as she watched Liv invite Chris over. Was Olivia deliberately showing off? Was there a need for this? Who was she putting on an act for? As she fumed, another person appeared behind the chair. Excuse me, I think you took my seat? Pamela turned, smiled, and apologized to the people behind her. Then she smiled at Olivia and the others and said, Looks like maybe I'm at a different table after all. Since Chris was there, she did not want to cause a scene or look stupid and stay. When she got up and passed by Chris's seat, Pamela accidentally tripped, but she held her hand on the edge of the chair and steadied her body. She turned her head and her eyes met the corner of Chris's mouth. Pamela was stunned for a moment. Chris was smiling at her, right? Pamela was immediately overjoyed. It seemed that Chris had feelings for her. Thinking this, Pamela flashed a smile at Chris. Then she gracefully turned around and made her way through the crowd. If he has feelings for me, that'll be good for my social status. If Chris knew what Pamela was thinking, he would have laughed. It was his fault for having a smile on his face. Francis walked over in a crisp suit, wearing a smile himself. Wow, Francis, you are very handsome. Wendy gave him a thumbs up. Well, you... Francis wanted to praise Wendy politely, but when he looked at her from head to toe, he could not find anything to praise. You are very casual tonight. Poofed. The others laughed good-naturedly, knowing that Wendy had made a fuss earlier about feeling underdressed for the event. Very funny. Wendy rolled her eyes at them and asked curiously, "By the way, Frances, why did you invite Pamela?" "She said she wanted to join in on the fun." Frances shrugged. "I felt bad." Millie frowned in disgust. At this time, a husband and wife in formal attire walked over. "Olivia, long time no see." "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Peters." Olivia got up. She was nervous to see Frances's mother after the last time, but she maintained her smile. "And you are—" Frances's father looked at Chris suspiciously, feeling that he looked familiar. Chris stood up and stretched out his hand. "Hello, I am Chris Jones, Olivia's fiancé." "No, fiancé?" Frances's parents were stunned. Both of them looked at Frances. Frances nodded to indicate that Olivia indeed had a fiancé. Only then did Frances's father extend his hand and shake Chris's hand. "Ah, well, pleasure," Frances's mom said. Clearly a bit embarrassed she made such a big deal of Frances dating Olivia the last time she saw her. "If you'll excuse us, we must greet the rest of our guests." As they retreated into the crowd, an MC on stage announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the chairman of our esteemed Peters Enterprise to deliver a speech." Applause erupted. Frances's father tugged at his clothes and ascended the stage, taking the microphone from the MC. "Firstly, I would like to express my utmost gratitude to all the distinguished guests who have graciously joined us today, sacrificing their precious personal time. Today marks the 100th anniversary of Peters Enterprise, merely a fleeting moment in history. However, to our corporation, it signifies the relentless efforts and dedication of 3 generations. My gratitude is beyond words on this occasion, and there's no need for inspirational speeches. We simply hope that our esteemed guests enjoy themselves." Applause filled the air once more. After Frances's father stepped down, the MC approached the podium, microphone in hand. He gestured for silence and continued. "In a while, we will have a raffle. Each of you will find a pink note under your tableware. The number on your paper is your raffle ticket number, and we have an array of dazzling prizes awaiting you. From the latest phones to gold earrings, from iPads to Kindles, may luck be on your side." Applause followed once again. Pamela sat in the corner, rolling her eyes. She found such a rigged operation incredibly dull. It was obvious that the winners had already been predetermined because raffle tickets had been placed under assigned seats. How annoying, she thought. The celebration proceeded with musical performances and the arrival of food. Everything was sumptuous, but Pamela barely touched her plate. Her objective today was not to indulge in the feast. No, she aimed to establish a connection with Frances's parents, though she was unsure how to approach them or what excuse to use. Observing them toasting and mingling with guests while holding their glasses, Pamela finally felt a glimmer of hope. However, either due to some time constraints or other reasons, Frances's parents did not venture towards the back of the banquet hall where she sat, and by the time she decided to go talk to them, it was already time for the raffle draw, so she had to stay in her seat. Pamela grew increasingly frustrated and anxious. She remained so far away from all the action. Pamela watched a woman conversing and laughing with Frances's mother, and her anger intensified, causing a physical ache in her stomach. Frances's mother drew the raffle tickets from the box filled with tickets. The first 3 winners turned out to be employees of the company. Pamela pursed her lips upon witnessing this, disdain in her eyes. "Number 138, Frances's mother called out, scanning the room. "Who is the lucky winner?" Pamela suddenly remembered something and promptly checked her pink ticket. She was momentarily stunned before raising her hand. She had won a prize too? How? "Number 138, quite a distance indeed," the MC remarked when he saw Pamela's hand go up in the far back of the room, his smile amusing the crowd. "Number 138, please come on stage to claim your prize." Pamela rose and made her way to the front. Standing on the stage, she first shook hands with Frances's parents, then received the prize from his mother, a Kindle ebook. The MC handed her the microphone so she could thank the Peters family and Pamela took a deep breath. Finally, the moment she'd been waiting for had arrived. She would use this moment not just to say thanks, but to make an actual speech. In her head, everyone wanted this from her. This was going to be her big moment. Hello, everyone. I am Pamela, a classmate of Francis. It's an honor to be invited to the 100th anniversary celebration of Peter's Enterprise. I'm grateful to receive this prize from the Peters. She spoke with poise, a gentle smile gracing her face. Clutching the microphone, she proceeded to express her admiration for Peter's Enterprise, before finally curtsying and leaving the stage. Applause resonated as Pamela descended from the stage. A proud smile curved her lips. She had achieved the desired effect. That young lady was so sweet and elegant, wasn't she? Remarked the MC with a smile. Now let's invite Mrs. Peters back up to continue selecting the lucky winners. Number 222, announced Francis's mother. 222? Liv, I won a prize! Wendy exclaimed, staring at her ticket in disbelief. Go up and claim it, Liv replied, excited for her friend. Wendy hesitated. Will you go on my behalf? Look at what I'm wearing. It's not suitable and people will laugh. I'll get stage fright and feel silly. Number 222, are you forfeiting your prize? It's an iPad, the host announced from the stage. All right. Olivia reluctantly stood up and went on stage with Wendy's ticket. After receiving the iPad, she offered a brief word of thanks before returning. Wendy accepted the prize from Olivia and questioned, Why did you come back so quickly? Look how much Pamela said. Well, do you think anyone else would speak as much as Pamela? Olivia chuckled. It was simply Pamela's nature to seek the limelight. That wouldn't change. Just watch, though, she promised. Everyone will see that Pamela was trying to get attention here tonight, and her reputation will suffer. She smiled. She's going to suffer constantly if I have any say in it. As guests took to the dance floor following the raffle prizes were handed out, Wendy turned her gaze out the banquet's open double doors toward the hotel lobby and froze in place. Her heart seemed to skip a beat. Wendy? Millie noticed Wendy's hesitation and stopped, casting a curious glance her way. Wendy felt a tightness in her throat and abruptly dashed outside. When? Hello, Earth to Wendy. Olivia and Millie exchanged puzzled looks as they quickly followed, wondering what had happened. Dad? Wendy looked uncertainly at the middle-aged man with a protruding belly walking by in the lobby. Was it really him? After all these years, she couldn't be sure. Ever since he took all their money and ran off with Mo, Wendy had only seen him in the few remaining photographs around the house. Wendy stood and walked out into the lobby, which had been set up as a sort of seating area for mingling guests who wished to relax away from the dance floor and dining tables in the banquet hall itself. The hotel lobby exuded grandeur, with its red and gold ornate decor and a red carpet bisecting the room. Waiters in tuxedos lined both sides of the room, and a majestic concerto filled the air. The walls adorned with 18th century European-style decorations appeared lifelike. Male guests wore suits and polished shoes, while female guests donned exquisite and expensive attire. Amidst this opulence, Wendy, dressed in her simple, continued to feel completely out of place. The man turned his head to look at Wendy and was taken aback when he saw her attire. He studied her face carefully for a moment before uncertainly uttering, Wendy? You... Wendy's lips trembled and she felt her throat drying up. Uttering a sound seemed difficult. She wanted to ask him why he had abandoned her and her mother all those years ago. She wanted to ask him how he had been all this time, but her words remained stuck in her throat. Wendy was abruptly interrupted by him. Why are you here? The man never expected to encounter Wendy in such a place. Wendy still struggled to speak. I am here. Are you here to hit me up for money? The man remarked, his disgust evident as he glanced at Wendy's clothes. Since she had chased him all the way here, what else could she possibly want? You must be desperate for money. The man looked around nervously. Confirming that no familiar faces were nearby, he quickly approached Wendy and muttered in a low voice, "You managed to track me down even here. You're ambitious." All of her thoughts were mercilessly shattered. Wendy stared at the disgust in the man's eyes, and her mind went blank in an instant. A chilling sensation spread from the depths of her heart to her limbs. Swiftly, the man took out $300 bills from his wallet and flung it at Wendy's face. "Here you go. Don't come looking for me again." With those words, he hurriedly left. It hadn't been easy for him to climb up from a struggling reporter to his current position, and he couldn't be bothered by this mother and daughter pair. He considered the money spent as a means to rid himself of the problem. Wendy stood rooted to her spot, unable to recover from the shock for a long while. Guests passing by paused when they witnessed the scene. The sordid affairs of the wealthy were widely known, and perhaps this was yet another illegitimate child seeking recognition. Observing it, they chuckled and moved on with mocking smiles. Wendy's gaze slid from the middle-aged man's retreating figure to the money scattered at her feet. "Wendy?" Olivia looked at Wendy's back, wanting to say something, but finding herself at a loss for words. Wendy let out a dry laugh, squatting down to pick up the money. She waved at Olivia and said, "Look, I got $300 and an iPad tonight. Lucky me." Observing Wendy force a smile, Olivia's heart ached. There was nothing she could say at that moment except silently reach out and grasp Wendy's hand. "Let's go. I'll treat you both to dessert. We can go somewhere expensive," Wendy said, mustering a smile uglier than a tear-streaked face. "Does this count as extortion? Ha! How amusing." "Wendy, let's go." Millie's eyes turned slightly red as she moved forward to hold Wendy's arm. "Okay, let's go." Wendy firmly clutched the cash, her smile frozen and pained. Her throat tightened. Wendy seemed to have found an outlet to vent her anger. Her hands tightly gripped Olivia's waist as she began to sob, experiencing all the grievances she and her mother had endured. The notion of justice had been utterly crushed today. It was unfair. Utterly unfair. She despised her father. From the moment he left their home, from the time she and Desiree were looked down upon because of their money situation, her hatred grew. Yet no matter how strong her aversion was, she couldn't ignore the longing for paternal love deep within her heart. But in the eyes of others today, it was nothing but a cruel joke. It was a damned joke. Olivia tightly embraced Wendy, feeling the weight of her anguish as she read her thoughts. Tears streamed down her own face as she witnessed Wendy's heart-wrenching cries. She didn't know what more she could do aside from offering her shoulder to lean on. Helplessness and powerlessness. These feelings compelled her to yearn for strength. If Wendy hadn't been in this state today, she wouldn't have suffered such humiliation. She refused to let the person she cared about endure such pain. She absolutely would not allow it. "I will kill him," Olivia thought, adding him to her list of people she would seek vengeance on. Hurting Wendy is like hurting me, and that man has humiliated and hurt her to her core, and I won't let him get away with it. "Liv, your clothes." Wendy looked apologetically at Olivia's fur coat, noticing the mud stain on her shoulder. It seemed ruined by Wendy's tears and running mascara. "It's all right, I'll take it to the dry cleaner." Olivia shrugged nonchalantly. "Now, where would you like to go for dessert?" "I want to go home," Wendy said. "I want to go straight home." The more she thought about it, the more she just wanted to leave, especially to see her mom. "Then let's go home." Olivia ruffled Wendy's head affectionately. "I'll take you." "No need." Wendy waved her hand. "I'll take the bus back with Millie. Don't you want Chris to accompany you home?" "It's fine," Chris interjected. "Liv and I will ride in my car. You two can ride with Liv's driver." "All right, then it's settled." Olivia nodded. She didn't give Wendy a chance to refuse. She ushered Wendy and Millie into Morris Bratt's car. "Morris, please see to it that Wendy and Millie get home safe." Once she waved goodbye, Olivia let out a heavy sigh. She felt exhausted. Chris looked at Olivia and smiled. If you're already tired now, what's the point of me accompanying you home? I need you. Olivia mustered her energy, nodding resolutely. She couldn't let herself give in to her exhaustion. If she was tired, how could she face the battle at the Johnson mansion? As Chris's car smoothly made its way through the bustling streets of Manhattan, surrounded by towering skyscrapers and the vibrant energy of the city, the landscape gradually transformed before their eyes. The concrete jungle gave way to open spaces, and the honking of car horns was replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves. The scenery shifted from the bustling urban scene to the serene countryside, with rolling hills and expansive green fields stretching out as far as the eye could see. The drive took them on winding roads, bordered by quaint little towns and picturesque farmhouses. As they approached Olivia's mansion, nestled amidst the idyllic countryside, a sense of tranquility and anticipation filled the air, setting the stage for the moments that awaited them in this peaceful oasis. When they passed the bit of road that Olivia had killed Hector on, she felt slightly rejuvenated. Knowing what she was capable of in the past helped steel her against what she would have been up against in the future. As Chris's car pulled up the driveway, Olivia's imposing mansion came into view. The grandeur of the architecture was awe-inspiring, with its sprawling size and elegant design commanding attention. The mansion stood tall and proud, exuding an air of sophistication and refinement. The exterior was adorned with intricate details, from the ornate pillars that framed the entrance to the towering windows that reflected the surrounding landscape. The well-maintained gardens and manicured lawns added to the overall splendor, creating a sense of luxury and exclusivity. As soon as they stepped out of the car, Olivia heard Polly barking fiercely. Alarmed, she glanced at Chris, and then rushed inside to find someone attempting to trap Polly with a rope. Spotting Olivia, Polly immediately barked, indicating that she was in danger and should stay away. Before Polly could react, a man swiftly looped the rope around its neck. Seeing an opportunity, another man swiftly threw a net over Polly's head. The more Polly struggled, the tighter the rope around her neck constricted. Oof! The suffocating sensation made Polly uncomfortable. Witnessing Polly's struggle, a third man grabbed a stick and prepared to strike it on the head. Stop! Olivia rushed forward, pushing the man away and snatching the stick from him. She swung it wildly at the other two men. Get lost now! Finally, Polly managed to break free, but the rope remained tightly bound around her neck. Seeing this, Chris stepped forward and untied the rope from Polly's neck. Polly growled menacingly at the three men. The fur around her neck was damaged, and her skin bore traces of blood from the rough rope, yet her ferocity remained unabated. Her sharp claws scraped against the floor, and her eyes gleamed with an insatiable thirst for blood that Olivia hadn't seen since she first laid eyes on Polly. You'd better step aside. Don't interfere with our work. The man whose stick had been taken by Olivia scowled. Where did this little girl come from? She was so annoying. Work? What work? Who asked you to catch my dog? Olivia's face was flushed with anger. We're from the pound, and he's from animal control. The man explained. We received a call claiming there were wild dogs causing harm here. Wild dogs? Are you blind? Would a wild dog really be so well-groomed? Olivia pointed at Polly. Which of you thinks she looks like a wild dog? Tell me the name of whoever made that call. Well, the three dog-catching team members were taken aback. They were just following orders. It was perfectly normal for them to come out and catch dogs upon receiving a call. I'm the one who made that call. Rachel's voice resonated from the staircase. Your dog went crazy and hurt your sister Monica. This house is no place to keep dogs. What? Olivia was stunned. So you're spreading rumors that my dog is a wild dog? That she is responsible for Monica's stupid accident? Olivia raised an eyebrow. She knew Rachel would make a big fuss of Monica's fall, using it to her advantage however she could. But Olivia hadn't expected Rachel to actually go after Polly. I'm not spreading any rumors. Rachel shrugged. The dog you're raising was found on the street, so naturally it's a stray dog, and quite feral too. What do you mean? Chris frowned. He had made it clear last time that this dog was a gift for Olivia. What was Rachel trying to accomplish? Rachel only realized Chris's presence upon hearing his words. A flicker of unease crossed her eyes, but she managed to regain her composure in time. Whatever the case, she had to get rid of this dog today. She would be bothered by its presence, and she didn't want Monica to be hurt in vain. I didn't say anything, Rachel replied, trying to maintain a smile. I'm just questioning whether Liv is capable of taking care of a dog. She's young and often isn't at home. If the dog isn't properly trained, it might become aggressive and harm people. Dogs aren't the one causing harm. It's certain people who can't control themselves, Olivia retorted, her face growing cold. I want to see who dares to take my dog away today. Tension filled the air. Rachel's face contorted with anger, while Olivia refused to back down. Polly remained on guard, its claws and teeth sharp, intimidating the dog-catching team. Even Chris felt his anger flare up. In the midst of this standoff, Michael's voice called out from outside the door. What's going on? Dad! Olivia's eyes sparkled as Michael entered the room. What's happening? Michael asked, his face filled with confusion. Sweetheart, something bad happened. Monica fell down the stairs and got hurt, Rachel said, her eyes welling up with tears. Oh, how did that happen? Is she seriously injured? Michael asked, his voice tinged with anxiety. It's not too serious, luckily. The doctor said it was just a sprain. With some rest and recovery, she'll be fine, Rachel explained, her tone tinged with a sense of injustice. That's a relief. Michael exhaled deeply, visibly relieved. But why did she suddenly fall down the stairs? As Monica was going downstairs, Liv's dog bumped into her and she accidentally tumbled down, Rachel explained, her eyes turning dark. Oh, is that so? Michael was taken aback, looking at Olivia for confirmation. No, I've already explained to these men who are trying to take Polly that she didn't do it and there's no evidence. Monica got hurt because she lost her balance on the stairs, Olivia retorted, rolling her eyes. Are you seriously trying to imply that I'm accusing you right now? Rachel retorted, her gaze fixed on Olivia. You're not accusing me, you're accusing my dog. Let's be clear about that, Olivia retorted, turning to Polly. Polly, did you do anything wrong while I was away? Because I know you didn't do anything while I was here, which is when we all saw Monica fell. Polly innocently looked at Olivia, tilting her head. What can a dog understand? Rachel grew angrier, observing Polly's limited comprehension of human emotions. It's a shame that dogs often understand better than humans. Olivia glanced at Rachel before shifting her gaze to Michael. Dad, what do you think we should do? This, Michael frowned, contemplating his words. This dog. Polly whimpered, lying on the ground with a tilted head. Her blue eyes brimmed with sadness. The blood on its neck appeared increasingly pitiful. She stared at Michael, emitting a mournful sound from its throat. Witnessing this, Michael was at a loss for words, unsure of how to proceed. He glanced at Rachel and then back at Olivia. What about Monica? Monica was in pain, crying out for her father and mother after the fall, Rachel said, her eyes moist with tears. Olivia is obviously just trying to protect her new dog. Michael looked at Olivia again. Liv. Let's handle it this way, Olivia interjected, a glint of cunning in her eyes as she cleared her throat. When I'm not at home, I'll lock Polly in my room and not let her out. Pausing momentarily, she continued, But if someone deliberately enters my room seeking trouble, I won't be able to control what happens. No! Rachel immediately objected. She found such a solution unacceptable. What do you propose, then? Michael looked at Rachel. This dog must be removed, Rachel insisted. What if Monica gets hurt again? A sprain is one thing. But if something worse happens in the future, how can I live with that? In that case, I might as well not lock Polly at all. Instead, you should tightly lock Monica's room. Don't let her go out, or else she might get hit by a car and die, Olivia retorted coldly. Ew, how can you say that? Rachel's expression turned cold. Monica is your younger sister. How can you curse her like that? Didn't you say that? If something really happens to Monica, how will you live? I'm doing this for your sake. The chances of getting hit by a car outside are much higher than the risks associated with my Polly. Why didn't you mention that? Olivia countered. That's different. Rachel responded, feeling frustrated. Monica is at home. I can't let these dangers stay by her side. Didn't I say when I'm not at home, I'll lock Polly in my room? Why don't you understand? Olivia frowned, finding Rachel's aggression increasingly exasperating. She also realized that continuing this argument would only further irritate Michael. Thus, Olivia subtly signaled to Polly. This dog cannot remain alive, Rachel insisted, her brows furrowing. So you just don't like me, is that it? Are you going to destroy everything I cherish before you give up? Olivia's eyes flashed with intensity as she stared at Rachel with deep-seated resentment. Meanwhile, Polly noticed Olivia's subtle hand signal and cautiously crawled toward Michael's feet. Hearing Olivia's words, Rachel realized she had gone too far. She took a deep breath, attempting to portray herself as a caring and reasonable mother. Liv, you misunderstood. I'm just concerned about your well-being. Today, it was Monica who got hurt because your puppy was being careless and isn't well-behaved since she's a stray from off the streets. But next time, it could be you. Polly and I haven't had any incidents for a long time. It's been quite some time since Polly came to the Johnson mansion, and she's always been well-behaved, Olivia said, her voice filled with anger. My question is, since you're so convinced Polly caused Monica to fall, which I know she didn't, but if you think she did, then why did Polly bump into Monica? She wouldn't harm someone without reason. Before Rachel could respond, Olivia continued. Remember when you had your dog Candy here? Candy barked incessantly in the house, and if it hadn't been for Polly's intervention, Candy would have bitten me. Now that you've sent Candy away, promise me you won't bring her back for the rest of your life, and you will put her down too. By the same logic, if we are going to punish Polly, then we need to punish Candy in the same way for trying to attack me too. Well, wait a second, hold on, I didn't mean that, Rachel stammered, realizing her mistake. She had invested a lot of money in her champion dog. She couldn't just abandon her or put her down because it had gone after Olivia once. All of her efforts would be wasted. Candy has undergone special training. She's different from this wild dog. Wow, so you're really still saying that the dog I gave to my fiancé is a wild dog? Chris raised an eyebrow. No, sorry, that's not what I meant. Rachel hurriedly clarified. This was all Olivia's fault. She had completely forgotten that Chris Jones was present because he was so quiet, and he stood slightly behind Rachel's periphery. Watch your words, Chris warned, his tone icy. Chris, please don't misunderstand. I'm simply saying that this dog is too difficult to train. It will take time for it to regain its natural instincts and be a good dog after being on the streets fending for itself, Rachel explained. Polly has a better memory than some people, Olivia retorted with a snort. Enough arguing, Michael interjected, his frown deepening. His temples throbbed with pain. After a long day of work, he had hoped to come home and relax, but it seemed increasingly difficult. Olivia and Rachel fell silent after being scolded by Michael. The living room fell into a quiet lull, and the three dog catchers felt awkward and out of place in the middle of this family argument. They contemplated leaving, but since they hadn't captured the dog yet, it didn't feel right to depart abruptly. Moreover, if it was indeed that the dog had caused harm, they couldn't allow it to remain in the vicinity. Rachel also understood that the ultimate decision rested with Michael. Hoping to elicit sympathy, she was about to shed a few tears when she noticed that the detestable dog had already scampered to Michael's feet. It affectionately rubbed her head against Michael's pants, displaying a fawning behavior that made Rachel nauseous. Polly nudged Michael's ankles and calves with her head and emitted a sound of endearment from her throat. She appeared weak and docile, imploring for affection. Michael, witnessing Polly's behavior, felt the frustration in his heart dissipate instantly. He squatted down and stroked Polly's head. Polly extended her tongue and licked Michael's palm, emitting a whimper. Her actions were tender and sweet. "Be good," Michael whispered as he patted Polly's back. He remembered secretly raising a dog when he was young. His parents didn't really like indoor pets, so he had one of his butlers help care for the animal in the stables, and he would visit with the pup every day after school for years. Some nights, he would sneak it up to his room when his father Jack was at work and his mother was at social functions. Though he couldn't recall the exact breed, he knew it was sweet and docile. A faint smile appeared on the corner of Olivia's lips as she watched her father's thoughts. She surreptitiously gave Polly a thumbs up, unnoticed by Michael. Polly playfully blinked in response. A flame ignited within Rachel's eyes. "Michael!" "No need to say any more," Michael commanded, stopping her. "Let's do as Liv suggested. Let's keep Polly in Liv's room when she's not around. We can have one of the maids check on her." "It's what I did with my butler and my dog in youth," he thought. "But Monica!" Rachel was reluctant to give up. "Monica only suffered a sprain. Take good care of her. I'll visit her later and remind her to be more cautious in the future," Michael assured. "Besides, Polly will be kept locked up so she won't cause harm." Rachel listened to Michael's words, biting her lower lip unwillingly. She felt that Michael had gone too far. How could he be so biased? "So then, are we not taking this dog?" The three members of the dog-catching team couldn't hold back any longer. Observing Olivia's troubled expression upon hearing this question, a glimmer of joy flickered in Rachel's eyes. "No," said Morris Bratt, who had accompanied Michael into the house, without opening his mouth from start to finish, pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose with his index finger. "I'll see to it that we take this dog into the vet to treat her wounds and make sure she is cared for and has all the necessary paperwork." "Thank you, Morris." Olivia expressed her gratitude with a smile and a nod. "It's my duty," Morris responded. "Morris is truly competent," Rachel commented coldly. "It's part of my job." Morris nodded again. Rachel was momentarily speechless, glaring at Polly, who was enjoying Michael's affection. The more she looked at the dog, the more she detested it. "Why didn't you take proper care of the dog I gave you?" Chris's tone turned icy as he turned and whispered to Rachel, low and grizzled so Michael couldn't immediately hear. "If something were to happen, how would you compensate me?" Rachel's expression froze upon hearing Chris's words. "Chris, it's all a misunderstanding." Michael intervened when he realized the young man was addressing his wife. "Indeed. It's best if it's just a misunderstanding. I don't want people to think they can easily bully me just because I'm not in London, and my family has less of an established presence here in the States." Chris's words were directed at Rachel. "Let's not delve into other matters. It wouldn't be difficult for a family with incestuous tendencies to disappear from Manhattan with just a single sentence." He was obviously referring to Rachel's brother and daughter-in-law, who were caught having an affair at the patriarch's birthday banquet. Rachel's back tensed as she comprehended Chris's intentions. She knew he wasn't joking. Though he was absent from London, Chris represented the Jones family's authority. With a single word from him, other companies in New York City would no longer dare to cooperate with the Cooper family going forward. At that point, even the Johnson family wouldn't be able to protect the Cooper family. Michael's expression didn't appear favorable. It hadn't been easy for him to help the Cooper family regain their footing after Kenneth's birthday banquet fiasco, so he couldn't suffer another setback now. The atmosphere grew increasingly tense once again. Olivia realized that Chris was supporting Polly. After this, Rachel probably wouldn't dare to pay any more attention to Polly. Grateful, she gazed at Chris, meeting his slightly angered gaze. Seeing Olivia, that anger unconsciously dissipated, leaving only a gentle smile on his lips. At that moment, Chris's driver Sven abruptly entered, breaking the tension. "Sir, I apologize for interrupting, but you are needed back home within the hour." Chris glanced at Olivia and said, "I'll be leaving then." "Okay," Olivia responded, nodding. "Thank you," she added. "Always." Chris smiled and ruffled Olivia's hair. Without uttering another word, he turned and followed his driver out of the Johnson mansion. "The three of you, please." Morris Pratt gestured to the three members of the dog-catching team. "Let me see you out." The three men were glad to be leaving. They found matters involving the wealthy class to be quite terrifying. Yet, the most terrifying aspect was the woman from affluent families. With the departure of the outsiders, Michael stated, "Rachel, is Monica in her room? I'll go check on her." "Yes," Rachel conceded. At this point, she couldn't argue further. Now she could only find a way to make Michael show more concern for Monica. "Liv, let's go upstairs and see," Michael told Olivia. After all, since Rachel insisted Monica had been injured by Polly, Olivia should visit with her younger sister and make her feel better. "I'm not going." Olivia shook her head. "I want to take Polly to the veterinary hospital with Morris. In her current condition, it might develop tetanus if not treated properly." Michael considered his daughter's words as he looked at Polly's bloody fur coat. "In that case, you can go," Michael agreed. After admitting Polly to the veterinary hospital, the young nurses who had cared for the injured dog couldn't help but shed tears upon witnessing its severe condition. She had been much more injured than Olivia originally thought. "I'm going to kill you," Olivia promised, thinking of how Rachel had tried to do away with Polly. "I thought I wanted to end you before, but now I'm going to completely destroy you first, so there's not even a memory of you when I'm done with you." When they heard Olivia describing the treatment the dog catchers had subjected Polly to, the young nurses trembled with disgust. However, Polly, ever perceptive, showered the nurses with affectionate licks until the nurses found themselves laughing once again, as the dog's antics brought them joy. The vet assessed Polly's condition and recommended keeping her at the hospital for a few days to recover. Olivia believed the hospital would provide a safer environment than her father's mansion, so she agreed. Monica was impulsive by nature, and if she became enraged and did something irrational, it wouldn't be worth endangering Polly. Upon leaving the veterinary hospital, Olivia received a call from Chris. "Hello?"
"I want to take you out tomorrow,"
Chris proposed. "What if I don't have time? You'll have to go out and enjoy tomorrow all by yourself," Olivia replied, a slight curl forming on her lips.
"Do you have plans tomorrow?"
Chris frowned. "Yes, I have something to attend to," Olivia confirmed. "I have an appointment."
"Can't you cancel it?"
Chris persisted. "No," she asserted. Olivia had promised her new tutor, Jeff Dreyer, that she would dedicate tomorrow to help him with his psychology study. She had noticed remarkable progress in her own studies recently, all thanks to Jeff, so she felt the need to repay him properly. She disliked owing favors, especially since she had already found owing Chris troublesome enough sometimes. Should she accumulate another debt with Jeff? It was best to let go of the idea. Chris grew slightly irritated for some reason.
"Then forget it,"
he responded before abruptly hanging up the phone and casually tossing it aside. "Chris, why are you being so silly? Just tell her it's your birthday tomorrow," Chris's driver Sven remarked while munching on instant noodles on Chris's couch. "If she knew, she would probably cancel her plans and see you. Why are you choosing to be so coy?" "Enough with the nonsense," Chris frowned, glancing at Sven. "Why haven't you found anything more in Dukley after all this time?" "Don't blame me for this," Sven exclaimed. "This kid is incredibly elusive. Dave, Simon, and I were in different countries, yet we still couldn't catch him, even when we split the work up. Why didn't you tell me that you guys were useless?" Chris furrowed his brow. "Don't start with me." Sven appeared indignant, as if insulted. Let me tell you, you can question my character but never doubt my capabilities. Chris's mouth twitched. It wouldn't be fair to say you lack modesty, he remarked, having never encountered someone so shameless before. What good is having shame? Sven raised his chin proudly. At that moment, the computer emitted a beep, signaling the arrival of an encrypted email. Sven set aside his half-eaten instant noodles. Wow, speak of the devil, it's a message from Dave Simon. Chris stood up and inquired. What's the news? It's a picture. Give me a moment to decrypt and download it. Sven grumbled as he skillfully decoded the message. Damn it, David. Last time it was the MOS password, and now it's an encrypted keychain password again. Such a hassle. How many brain cells do I have to waste deciphering passwords? If this isn't crucial information, I'll use that insolent brat's leg as a baseball bat. Enough with the chatter. Can you download the picture or not? If you can't, let me handle it, Chris urged, his frown deepening. Hey, don't rush me, I'll figure it out, Sven retorted. He pressed the return key and gazed at the downloaded picture. Huh? Who is this person? Step aside. Chris pushed Sven away from the screen and carefully examined the photo. In the picture, a young man stood surrounded by a few bodyguards. He appeared to be around 18 years old, with long black hair, blue eyes, fair skin, and a cold expression. Although the photo had been taken discreetly, it was quite clear. Chris stared at the image and murmured, Duke Lee. What? Sven looked at Chris with a mournful gaze. What did you say? Duke Lee, Chris repeated without averting his gaze. He is the Duke Lee I've been searching for. Him? Sven set aside his usual cynicism and examined the photo. He interlaced his fingers and stretched. Well, with these photos, further investigation will become much easier. This damned Duke Lee has wasted so much time. But now that I have a visual, I'll dig up all the information I can on this guy. I'll leave it to you. Chris's eyes darkened. Duke Lee could potentially pose a major threat to Chris, so he needed to gather everything he could on the guy. Meanwhile, still in Morris Bratt's car, Olivia was taken aback by the dial tone on the other end of the line, after Chris abruptly hung up on her. What on earth, is he angry? Shaking her head, Olivia pocketed her phone, choosing to ignore it. Upon returning home, Michael insisted that she visit Monica. When Olivia laid eyes on her sister's feeble appearance, crying out in pain for their parents, she couldn't help but feel annoyed. Mommy, Daddy, it hurts so much. Monica's eyes were swollen and red from incessant crying. Damn it! Why hadn't that wretched dog been hauled away and put down? This is too much. Olivia, be a good girl. Rachel wiped away her tears as she tried to console her. The pain will subside in a few days. Be good. Your father is here with you. Just be good. Yes, Michael frowned and added, your sister has come to see you. Then he turned to Olivia. Liv, comfort your sister as well. Olivia hesitated. Yep, just here to make sure you're feeling all right. You look like you're in pain. Monica narrowed her eyes, unsure if that was an insult. She knew her half-sister didn't really care about her well-being. You! Get out! Monica seethed with anger, panting heavily and forgetting to pretend to be in pain. She snatched up a pillow and hurled it at Olivia. You're not actually concerned about me. Monica wished she would die. Easily evading the pillow, Olivia let out a contemptuous laugh. Wow, you suddenly have so much energy. Maybe you're not in as much pain as I thought a moment ago. Sarcasm dripped from Olivia's lips, causing Monica's arrogance to fade instantly. She turned to Michael, seeking his support. Michael was taken aback for a moment and sighed heavily. Monica just loves to be spoiled by you, Michael. Rachel hurriedly interjected, trying to explain why Monica was playing up her sprained ankle for dramatic effect and pretending to be far more injured and in pain than she really was. Monica, you should rest and recover, Michael said, rising from his seat. Honey, wait. Rachel wanted to say more to keep him there, but Michael raised his hand, cutting her off. I still have some work documents to review. Michael sighed once again, walking out of the room. Goodbye, Dad. Olivia waved at his departing figure. Once the door closed, the room fell into silence. Liv, you're quite something. Rachel's smile was faint, her gaze filled with gloom. Thank you for the compliment, Auntie Rachel. Olivia turned to face Rachel, sporting the same smile. You're not bad either. After all, we're from the same family. And Monica, why haven't you learned your lesson? Have you ever spoken without it causing trouble? If I were you, I'd just keep my mouth shut. It would benefit everyone. Monica's face turned red, and she clenched her teeth in frustration. Olivia couldn't get away with this. Liv, do you really believe that with your limited intelligence, you can permanently establish yourself in New York City? Rachel smiled coldly. Stupid girl. This won't last for you, you'll see. Auntie, after all this time, do you truly believe that my success is solely due to my eloquence and limited intelligence? Olivia raised an eyebrow. Oh, right, there's also a man. Rachel laughed. How could I forget? You still have Chris Jones to support you. Compared to relying on men, I'm certainly not as skilled as you, Auntie. Olivia took a step forward, tilting her head as she gazed at Rachel. Stealing a man is the better option, isn't it? Yes. Rachel smirked triumphantly. Michael had been won over by her own abilities. What was there to worry about? In that case, savor this moment. Olivia raised her chin provocatively. Because it's temporary. You'll be returned to where you came from sooner or later. Oh, I highly doubt that. Rachel met Olivia's gaze. Then just wait and see. Olivia, wearing a satisfied smile, exited Monica's room. Once the door closed, Monica fumed. Mommy, Olivia is too arrogant. I should have pushed her down the stairs today without any hesitation. You dare say such things. Rachel frowned. I haven't scolded you yet. Monica shrunk back, her neck retracting. Do you realize that if she falls to her death, you'll pay with your life? Rachel's frown deepened. Is her wretched life worth the same as yours? And even if she died, do you think that would solve the problem of her current place in your father's heart? Can a push fix that? What should we do then? Monica's eyes filled with grievances. I hate her. I just want her dead. I hate her more than you do. And it's not just her. I hate her mother as well. I hate Victoria Park. I hate everything associated with her. Rachel's eyes briefly flashed with the viciousness that quickly dissipated. But I love your father. We have limitations just like you. Our lives are far more valuable than any gold. We must think carefully before taking any action. We mustn't throw our lives away. It's not worth it. What should we do, Mommy? We can't let Olivia snatch Dad away from us. Monica anxiously whined. Daddy belongs to us. I know. Rachel's gaze grew resolute. Your father is mine. No one can take him away. Then what should we do? Monica repeated, more urgently now. She felt waiting idly like this wasn't an option. Why don't we kill Olivia's mother? That way, Olivia would never dare to snatch her father away. Besides, Grandfather said we couldn't touch Olivia, but he never said anything about her mother. No. Rachel shook her head reflexively. She knew how badly she wanted to kill Victoria. Nobody wanted it more than her. He would hate me. Michael may not love Rachel, but she couldn't bear for him to hate her for killing Victoria. Even if it was just a look of disgust from him, Rachel couldn't endure it. That's not an option either. Monica grew flustered and exasperated. Then what should we do? We wait. Rachel's gaze grew resolute. Wait some more? Monica grew frustrated. Mommy, why do we always have to wait? What are we waiting for? We're waiting for your uncle and your brother to return. Rachel reached out to stroke Monica's head, her gaze filled with tenderness. When they come back, We'll find a way to get Olivia out of this mansion." "My little brother's coming back?" Monica's eyes lit up. Her memories of Edward were hazy because he was sent to Europe to be mentored by his uncle so early, but she vaguely remembered him being a shy little boy. However, that was insignificant. What mattered was that her little brother was the pride of the Johnson family because he was Michael's only son. And Monica felt proud too. If she revealed that her little brother was a disciple of her Uncle Bruno, a master chef, everyone would admire her. "Yes," Rachel nodded. "But Uncle Bruno," Monica hesitated. "Will Uncle really help us?" She felt a little apprehensive about Bruno. There was something off about him, something eerie. "He will." Rachel's eyes gleamed with confidence. "He definitely will." Just like 17 years ago, Rachel was certain that Bruno would wholeheartedly help her. He was the only person in this world, aside from her, who would go to such lengths. "That would be great." Monica smiled once again. "This time, Olivia won't stand a chance." Turning to face Rachel, she brimmed with anticipation. "Mommy, when will Uncle and my little brother come back?" "They'll be back during the spring," Rachel replied. Although she secretly hoped that Bruno would never return for the rest of her life, for personal reasons, she still had to rely on him for help when the time came. "Okay," Monica nodded with excitement. She didn't know why, but she had a feeling that this time it would work out, and they would finally successfully ruin Olivia. Unlike Monica, who was filled with anticipation and joy, Rachel felt a mix of happiness and worry. She herself wasn't certain of the outcome this time. Still, she had no choice but to give it her all. Olivia was like a malevolent demon emerging from the depths of hell to collect debts, a formidable and relentless adversary. On Sunday, Olivia rose from her bed and gazed out the window while combing her hair. Despite the sunny weather, her room remained untouched by the sun's rays due to its poor window placement, which made it feel damp and cold. As she muttered to herself, "The winter sunlight is unreliable enough as it is," Olivia proceeded to change her clothes. She discarded her pajamas and donned a white shirt, a V-neck woolen sweater, and a combination of warm tights and a plaid skirt. Finally, she adorned herself with a red cap, a half-body cloak, and a pair of leather boots. Grabbing her bag, she departed from the bedroom. Upon descending the stairs, Olivia discovered everyone gathered in the dining room, enjoying their breakfast. She approached and greeted, "Good morning, Grandpa. Good morning, Dad." Once she was seated, Olivia shifted her gaze to Rachel and added, "Morning, Auntie." "Morning," Grandpa Jack replied, glancing briefly at Olivia before diverting his attention elsewhere. He couldn't be bothered with the affairs of the younger generation. "Liv, are you going out today?" Michael inquired. "Yes," Olivia replied, taking a sip of milk. "My tutor Jeff asked me to assist him with his research project today." "Just you?" Monica scrutinized Olivia, her aversion growing, especially after the incident with her sprained ankle. When Olivia was unscathed, she glared at her angrily and questioned, "Isn't that weird?" "What do you mean?" Olivia set down her milk and picked up a piece of buttered toast. It was definitely crispy. Taking a bite, she relished the satisfying crunch. The sound of the bite made her eyes light up. The bread had been baked to perfection. "Jeff Dreyer holds a master's degree in psychology. What contribution can you possibly help him make in his research project?" Monica glanced at Olivia and noticed some crumbs falling onto the table as she ate. She curled her lips in disdain. How uncouth. "Are you doubting my abilities?" Olivia finished her toast and reached for another piece, this time spreading peanut butter on it. "You don't possess a master's degree in psychology, so how can you be certain that I won't be of assistance?" With that said, she took a bite. The combination of rich peanut butter, the aroma of the toast, and the lingering flavor in her mouth brought her great delight. After devouring her toast, Olivia turned her head and noticed Jeff's car pulling into the Johnson family's courtyard. She hastily finished her milk, proclaiming, "I'm full." You haven't touched your grilled sausages and potatoes, Michael reminded her. They're too greasy. I don't want them. Olivia shook her head and reached for an apple on the table. This is sufficient. Take your time, everyone. As she rose from her seat, Jeff entered the main hall, led by a servant. Good morning, everyone. Jeff Dreyer is here. Have you had breakfast? Rachel asked, wearing a smile. I have, thank you. Jeff replied with a smile and a nod. Jeff, try some more. The bread today is delicious. Monica invited him, a smile on her face. Deep down, she was seething. A genius like Jeff was wasting his time teaching Olivia, a worthless interloper. Yes, sit, Rachel added, smiling faintly. Jeff, I'm also free at home today, Monica suggested, thinking that if they spent the day together, Jeff would surely realize how much more helpful she was compared to Olivia. Perhaps she could become his mentor. What if I... Let's go quickly. Olivia walked toward Jeff before brushing past him. Goodbye, everyone. Jeff turned around and followed Olivia without waiting for Monica to finish speaking. Monica bit her lower lip unhappily. Exiting through the door, Olivia took her place in the front passenger seat, fastening her seatbelt. She glanced at Jeff, who also secured his seatbelt before starting the car. Where are we headed? Jeff didn't respond because he was busy wondering how he could best achieve a sense of equality between himself and Olivia, so she didn't think of him as an authority figure. Referring to himself as a teacher would create a divide between them, hindering his research. Jeff? Olivia smiled. Where are we going? After maneuvering the car out of the mansion's driveway, Jeff smiled. I'm taking you to have fun. Have fun? Olivia was taken aback. Aren't we supposed to be doing work on a research project? Yes. Jeff smiled and asked, You think I would take you to the laboratory where you'd be covered in tubes and various instruments? To some extent. Olivia had assumed that the basic task would involve filling out numerous psychological test reports or something. I believe you have a misconception about psychology research, Jeff said. A profound one, indeed. Is that so? Olivia's curiosity was piqued. Then what does psychology research entail, in your opinion? It depends on how you perceive it, Jeff replied. Would you like some music? Sure, Olivia shrugged. All right, then. Jeff reached out and turned on the music. Instantly, hip-hop tunes filled the car. I didn't expect you to like hip-hop, Olivia expressed her surprise. Based on their interactions, she had assumed that Jeff preferred jazz, blues, or folk ballads or something. Aha, didn't see that coming, did you? Jeff casually responded, using the corner of his eye to carefully observe Olivia's facial expressions. He made mental notes of the corresponding emotions, officially commencing his psychological research. After driving for nearly an hour, the car came to a halt in the parking lot. Jeff unfastened his seatbelt and announced, We've arrived. Here? Olivia looked at the massive Ferris wheel nearby. The amusement park? That's right. Jeff nodded, producing 2 tickets he had purchased in advance. Don't you like amusement parks? Olivia hesitated. It wouldn't hurt to indulge in some fun occasionally, would it? She decided to treat this day as a break and enjoy herself. Sure, she said finally, though she was very unsure what Jeff had in store for her, or what his intentions were. From reading his mind, all she could hear him thinking was, While you enjoy today, I'm going to study you. Staring at the information on his computer screen, Chris Jones furrowed his brow. Duke Lee was proving more dangerous than Chris had anticipated. Duke Lee's influence extended not only throughout Europe, but also Chris had yet to uncover the mastermind behind Duke Lee. It was hard to believe that a 20-year-old Italian youth possessed such power and influence. Even his name was enigmatic, clearly a fictitious name or an alias he'd adopted. But what was his real identity? Lost in thought, Chris found his view obstructed by a hand reaching out to block his sight from the screen. Chris, it's your birthday today. Take a break and go out for a walk. Move aside, Chris replied, lacking the mood to go for a stroll. Come on, Ben shook his head. You can't give up just because your crush ignored you. It's your 18th birthday, a once-in-a-lifetime occasion. What makes this birthday different from any other? Chris retorted, rolling his eyes at Sven. Did you celebrate your 17th birthday twice? Sven paused, taken aback. No, 18 is the age of legal adulthood. It's not the same. After 18, you're considered a man. You can vote. You can go out and do things. So, are you saying I wasn't a man before? Chris narrowed his eyes, finding Sven's audacity growing. How could I dare? Sven exclaimed, startled. What I meant is that after 18, it's different from being in a relationship during your younger years. Don't interrupt my work. Sven frowned, exiting Chris's room. When he got out into the hallway, he dialed a number. Hello. Vera, Chris is being uncooperative. I need you to come out and intervene. In less than a half an hour, Vera arrived. Her vibrant red outfit still managed to catch attention even in the cold winter. Chris, get up. Vera? Chris looked at her in surprise. What are you doing here? Don't play dumb. I've already bought the tickets. Vera waved the tickets in her hand. Come to the amusement park with me. Chris stared at the tickets, taken aback. You? Playing in an amusement park? What's that supposed to mean, Chris? Vera clenched her jaw. I'm not even 30 yet, all right? Even if I were 30, I could still go to the amusement park. Haven't you heard that there's a little girl inside every woman? Chris pondered for a moment and said, all right. He couldn't quite comprehend what was going on, or why Vera was suddenly insisting that they have a fun day. But he figured he wouldn't turn down his cousin's invitation to hang out, especially on his birthday. He was always looking out for him. It was the least he could do. You stay here and continue working, Chris instructed Sven, grabbing his coat. If I don't have any new progress when I come back, we'll have problems. Chris and Vera drove straight to the amusement park after leaving the house. After getting in the long line at the entrance and presenting their tickets, they finally entered the park. It didn't take long for Chris to realize what a foolish decision he had made. The park was bustling with noise and commotion. Costumed characters roamed around, and a group of mischievous kids gathered around a dinosaur mascot, kicking and hitting it. Chris winced at the sight, feeling sympathy for the mascot. But the parents of those kids were too engrossed in chatting and taking selfies to intervene. Why did such an overrun, tedious place like an amusement park even exist? Let me see, what should we try first? Vera took out the park map and examined it. Ooh, why don't we start with the spinning teacups? It can be a warm-up. Sure, Chris replied, not particularly enthusiastic. The line for the spinning teacups wasn't too long, and soon Vera and Chris settled into a coffee-colored teacup, fastening their seatbelts. Unbeknownst to Chris, however, as his teacup started spinning, Olivia Johnson and her tutor Jeff had just exited the nearby jungle expedition ride. Did you like that one? Jeff asked. Yeah, Olivia nodded. What should we try next? Jeff consulted the park map. Shall we go for the pirate ship ride? Olivia looked at the map and said concerned. The pirate ship ride included a water-based adventure, and she feared Jeff's nice outfit would get wet. She recalled that it involved some form of rafting. Although not as thrilling as the one at the water park, it could still result in soaked clothes. How about the sky-high ride instead? Olivia pointed to the long line on the left. If we get in line now, it'll take about an hour, right? If you want to go, let's line up. Jeff agreed, nodding. I'd like to experience it too. All right. Olivia smiled and proceeded to join the line. As they waited, they engaged in conversation, discussing various interesting topics. The long line became more bearable. When Olivia and Jeff reached the middle of the line, Vera pulled Chris to the end of the same line, not realizing who stood just 100 feet in front of them. Chris, I've been wanting to try this ride for a long time. Come and join me. Chris observed the excited visitors strapped into their seats and shouting with exhilaration. The noise was starting to irritate him. It was just too chaotic and crowded here, and Chris didn't love children crying and shouting constantly. He much preferred resorts and lounging around expensive penthouses and members-only clubs where there were rules of conduct. Chris, we came to the amusement park to have fun. You should at least smile, Vera teased. I'm smiling, Chris replied, his arms spread wide. You're not smiling at all. You don't have to pretend, you know. Or, are you just disappointed that your little wildcat didn't accompany you on your birthday? Where is Olivia, by the way?